Lindsay. Here, let's do cheers.
Good morning. Cheers. There we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Tell me about your cup. Where'd you get your cup?
Actually, so most of the things in my life I get secondhand. And so this was this amazing woman. So she wrote on, she was having this like indoor yard sale, whatever. And I started talking to her. She had everything. She had like teacups from around the world, and she had these awesome photo things and costumes. And so she was a photographer, and she like ran tea parties. She did literally everything. And I asked where she was going, and do you know what she said?
What?
She's going to environmental work in New Zealand, and she just did. She has a kid, but he went off to college, and she just did it all. And she's like, I just don't ever want to live my life in a
Wow.
place where I don't take opportunities. And so that's what she did her whole life. Is that amazing?
Wow. That's
I love
courage.
I don't even know her and I want to be her.
That's courage. That's brave. That's brave. Oh,
Brave is drinking anything near this psychopath.
this
uh,
was this one. I love this one. It's typically for display only. It
yeah.
belonged to my husband's mother, and he has a couple of her teacups that we keep displayed, but I broke it out for this, and it comes with this like beautiful little saucer.
Oh, cool. You have to bring it for your tea party and at
I
camp.
know.
Oh,
Look at this is what I typically drink out of. Like, do you see the difference?
as it should be, man.
That's what I typically drink out of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got my dream. Hold on. So this is the reality, or
Yeah.
this is made for TV. This
Yes.
is the reality.
Yes.
The dream
The
is
dream. Dream, the impossible dream. Okay, so we're spilling the tea today.
yes. And I think we've been talking a lot about camp, but no one knows about me and you and
Yes.
how we
Yes.
were once cool.
The
We were
us. The us.
the us when we got together. Mayhem ensued, and it was awesome
It
sauce.
was. It was. Things
Yeah.
that both of us realized when we went looking for photos don't exist, and they don't exist for a reason. We will not be spilling tea about what we were doing in our 20s as we were traveling around the country. No, no, not.
I mean, what could possibly go wrong in Louisiana, in New Orleans? I mean, how much mischief could you get into?
Or Colorado.
Or Denver? I
Or
am so
or
glad I didn't
during
go. I'm
or
just gonna
Tampa.
glad I didn't go.
Yeah, or Tampa.
I am the UN,
You
and that's
are the you.
no one.
Oh, so many good times. We
If
had so
people
many
want
good
to know about
times.
that, maybe they can ask at camp, but otherwise, no. I am the UN.
So, you know what? I agree with. I think that this is a great opportunity for people to get to know us and get to know a little bit about our personalities and how I think we complement each other. I think that, during this whole process, I think that we've seen, there are times where Jen comes with all the ideas, all of them, and I have to say, okay, let's, you know, maybe we don't have an elephant come to camp. Maybe we just bring a picture and
It compromise and just have the coffee truck. I know a lady. She's coming.
uh but it's funny. I think a good first spilling the tea
Mm-hmm.
question, kind of given our history of knowing one another and given, just where we were when we met, because we were both early 20s,
Yeah.
or I was mid 20s, you were early 20s.
I think I was 19 when I started. I was probably 21. Yeah, I was 21 because
Yeah.
we got into place.
Yeah.
So I
Uh-huh.
was about 21 when I met you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah. And I was around 20, so 25, 26, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm 4 years older, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you could give advice to your 21-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
Um, well, probably like, and I don't think this is unique to me in the sense that I think it's a very woman thing, or maybe it's a very person thing. Maybe it's not even a woman thing. We have like society tries to sell us this bill of goods, basically, that says, you need to have everything figured out. Everything,
Mm, yep.
when as soon as you get your degree, you're supposed to know what to do.
Yep.
And I didn't. I left my undergrad with a year left to move to LA to act. And then and I remember asking one of my best friends in the world, she's still my friend now. Um, I remember saying, Tan, do you feel like a woman? And she's like, no, do you? I'm like, no. When are we gonna feel like women? She's like, I don't
Mm,
know. And so but in my not knowing, I took a ton of risks. Like I traveled a ton. Oh, my cat is about to spill more than tea, so let me move him. He's about to spill my entire thing. Okay, so I don't know. So when I didn't know what to do with my existence on the planet, I just kept moving. Like I remember not
mm,
wanting things, so I went to Seattle and I hitchhiked to Portland, Oregon, and then when I still had questions, I went to Europe and I did so I think my advice, long story long, would be don't have it figured out. What
mm.
is that quote? Like people who not everyone who wanders is lost.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
like I wasn't lost. And that's what I finally realized I was finding.
Yes.
I was gathering all of the understandings of the world of how people worked and how different cultures are so seamless and how there's the universal that
Mm,
even when I was in Spain, if I was lost, I went up to a woman. It's like that's universal, right?
mm.
Things that you trust as a human are just universal. And then if you don't fret too much, they do work themselves out.
Yes.
That
Yes, they
saying, like,
do.
um, someone once said to me, it all works out in the end. And if it's not worked out, it's not the end yet. So that's what I
Mm,
would
I
say.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
What
Mm.
about you?
Oh, you know, I gotta be honest with you. I think I would hug her first. Like
Mhm.
I think that she just like when I look back, she just needed a hug.
Yeah.
Like she was doing everything for everyone. I mean, when her family, I moved out to California from Massachusetts when I was 15 with my dad and my stepmom and my stepsister, and I went to college in California and then my senior year in college. So dad moved to Virginia, graduating college, relationship had ended, and it was like, do I stay in California? Do I come back to Massachusetts where my mom was? Do I go to Virginia where my dad was? And I came to Massachusetts. And I think those first few years, kind of 21, 22, 23, were tough. And I think that, just when she started kind of getting her momentum and finding herself and her authenticity and her friendships, um, she she kind of lost herself again. But when I think back on that time, the way in which I always lost myself was in other people. So like would lose myself in my job. I would lose myself in a friendship. And I think when I met you, I lost myself in, kind of a relationship with who ultimately became my first husband. I have no regrets and I am thankful because that relationship really taught me a lot and it gave me my gorgeous, amazing son. Um, but just if I could go back during that time, I'd just hug her and just say, don't lose you.
Yeah.
Just hold on to who you are. And I wish I had done that. I wish I had done that more. Yeah, but I'd give her a big old hug.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. It's so, yeah. I mean, yeah, no,
mm,
that's all there
mm,
is about that. But I definitely saw that in you. Like I saw, that, yeah, like that you would fill yourself up with other people's joy, which is
Yeah.
something. So it's a blessing and a curse, right? There's
Yeah.
that is just
Yep. Yep.
you are the bearer of others' joys. Like I've
Yeah.
always felt like that. Whenever I was with you, I felt so safe and so held. And we bear right, even like right from the start, right
Yes.
from like day
Yep.
one.
Day one.
And
Well,
so
when you finally woke up, because
when
you
I woke up,
slept pretty much for the first 12 hours that we were traveling together.
do that, and then
Yeah,
you had my blankie on the first day.
I did. Listen, and it was love ever after. Love ever after.
Yeah.
Um,
And I just feel like we need to, and I'm not saying I know how to do it, but we need to stop this narrative of women being solely caretakers and completely selfless, and that's like the goal.
yes.
And
Yes.
I don't want to move to a place where we're not maternal. That's not at all what I'm
No.
saying, but
Mm-mm.
we
Mm-mm.
definitely need to get to a we need to impose onto our girls that hmm, figuring out is a myth. And every person that comes in your life is not, it's not, there's no job. There,
Yes.
you have to see them as connections where they give and they
Yeah.
receive and you receive. But it's like, how do you teach that without being old ladies like us?
Well, and especially given the fact that I think for a lot of us women, and I'm gonna say, for Gen X and older, it
Yeah.
was generationally taught. It was
Yeah.
generationally kind of what you saw, what your, whether it was mothers, aunts, grandmothers, like that was something that was kind of, really generationally taught.
Yeah.
For women today and, kind of the millennials and the Gen Zs, it's social media. It's
Yeah.
competition and comparison. And I think that, it's something that I even, as a 50-year-old woman on social media, it's something that I even still grapple with as far as my identity and what does it mean to be a 50-year-old woman and what does it mean to be a 50-year-old mother, wife, you know, worker, daughter, like what does that mean? And, I'll say like even last night, I think about it. My husband and I went to a Celtics game. I had won these, tickets in a raffle, and it was my son's junior prom. And it
Yeah.
was like, as a mother, it was like, I'm a horrible human being for not going to my son's, the 5 minutes where you take the picture and he's like, Ma, get out of here. Like, like I was so torn. Like, even posting that I was at the Celtics game, it was like, oh gosh, like people are going to think I'm the worst mother ever because I had these tickets and I chose to do that with my husband as opposed to go to the prom. And and yet, I reached out to, my ex-husband, his father, and I said, is there any way you can go?
Yeah.
He went with my son's stepmother, their daughter, and, sent me the pictures after, and it was fine. And it was fine.
Yeah.
But it was that internal dialogue for myself of what are other people going to think?
Yes, yes. And everyone says it, but it bears repeating because maybe if we say it long enough it'll be true, like some politicians we know. But this is actually true. Um we can't fix everything. We can't be everything. And women need to stick together. Like we're getting to be like a hefty bunch. And
Yeah.
if we just band
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
and even like I think some people who maybe hold differing opinions than me or maybe very grossly differing opinions, almost like asking like where did that come from? That comes from this narrative. It's like
Yeah.
that we have been fed. So I'm not saying that I'm going to be able to rise above and say, oh, I see your point of view and I hear you, but I do hear you. I
Yes.
you know being told over and over that you are not enough, and then starting to kind of adhere to the truths that you've been given by people in power is, I
Mhm.
mean, we're both counselors. There's a word for that, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that is something that we have to understand, and not to excuse that, but make understanding for other women.
Yes.
Make space. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know why they've landed on that. And I think
Mm.
that if we can get past disdain and into compassion, I think
Yes.
that's where it happens. We don't have to all see eye to eye, but we
Mm.
all every single one of us needs to find compassion.
Yes. And what I love, and when you came to me and started talking about, taking time and where you see this going, and that desire to create safe sacred space just for women.
Yeah.
The thing that really struck me about what camp does is it gives us permission to pause.
Yes.
Like, I think that when I talk to people, and I myself, like if I go on vacation, it's like I'm just going to shut down, I'm just going to turn everything off, and I'm going to and what I love about this opportunity is, it's challenge by choice. If you want to be on your phone, be on your phone. If you don't. If you want to go to two workshops, go to two workshops. If you want to, join us for breakfast, great. If you want to sleep in, great. Like this is your chance to just do whatever makes you feel compassion for yourself, safe
Mm-hmm.
for yourself, that permission to pause and then to also engage with one another, and that's
Yeah.
what I love, and I
That,
love that opportunity again for us as women. There really aren't these spaces, these opportunities, and I think it's a gift. I think
yeah.
it's a gift, when we can find these spaces.
Yeah. There was this amazing movie that everyone needs to run out and watch. It's called Private Lives. But there's this Korean word, and I'm not even going to try to say it. But it's I don't know, not a theory. It's this idea that if you walk on the street and you brush like even fabric with another stranger, that means you have years of past lives with them. and
Mm.
and and when I go to my women's retreat every year, I'll meet people that I may never see again, but I really have taken that idea that our cloths are rubbing, and
Mm.
they so now in my next life or in my next existence somewhere, like they're now part of my story, and I
Mm.
don't there's nothing shallow about it. It's like the deepest thing in the world to create these forged relationships and moments, and I for me, I love that idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. And I love the metaphor, and having done retreats when I worked at Endicott College, one of the biggest themes or kind of lines that I would try to draw is that idea of everybody has a story, and kind of if we're able to look at our lives through the lens of storytelling and through the lens of, chapters and characters and themes and all of that. I think that it's so powerful to sit in spaces where you can reflect on the story that you have written, the story that was written for you. And I think most importantly, like, what is the story you want to write? Like, what is that vision of the story? That again, what is my story for the next year? What is my story 5 years from now? And that I'm the one with the pen, right? Like I'm the one who writes that story. And I think that for us as women, again, we see so much of our story being written for us in those early years. And to me, at what point in our lives do we take the pen and be like, no, I'm gonna write this. Like I'm gonna write this story.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I want to leave that idea with them. And maybe what if we invite our whoever watches this? It could be just our best friends, or it could be all of you in internet land.
Mhm.
Um, what do you want to kind of chat about? Is there something on your heart that a topic that you want us to spill some tea over, or even just questions about camp? You can,
Yes.
it can
Yep.
be as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Or
But we,
questions to us about, kind of prompting the conversation or, getting it started in
yeah,
that way.
we'd love to hear from you. And Lindsay, I know that you have a million things to do today, and so I love you for
I love
spending time
you.
with
I
me,
love
my dear
you.
friend.
Oh, I love it. I love your friendship. I love your sisterhood.
Do
Mm.
another cheers. I like that.
Cheers.